So Align Athletic Gear is really a startup company that took an innovative product and helped redesign it with the inventor, Chris.
My name is Chris Tedesco, and I originally invented the NeuroPak and built it to help facilitate motor learning and corrective movement and correction of biomechanics and performance.
We are taking innovation, knowledge from the sports, the military athlete, the professional athlete, the youth athlete, and we're trying to design a tool that makes them more efficient, more productive, and better outcome.
For about 25 years, I owned a training facility, athletic performance and injury prevention and corrective exercise. And I had some guys from Special Operations Command reach out to me after seeing some videos of me online working with adaptive athletes, rigging cables and cords to equipment to create more of a user-defined experience in training modality. So what their goal was to help facilitate learning of critical skills like weapons transitions. So if you're drawing your weapon to a reload, to transition from a primary weapon to a secondary weapon, all that is done in a series of movements and sequence, but the foundation of the body has to be strong.
In 2017, I met Chris, and like every parent, I had kids and they were playing youth sports soccer. And in that, we want the best outcome. So my daughter, Kirsten, started training with one of the first prototypes of the NeuroPak. And in there, I saw immediate results on the soccer field. So I saw a backpack that she wore and trained with a couple days a week turn into performance. And then one day in 2020, I had a personal back pain, was debating surgery, and remember putting on the NeuroPak and how it relieved some of my pain. So I started walking with it 30 minutes a day. And over time, my core became more engaged. My alignment and posture was somewhat corrected, and I started becoming pain-free.
The NeuroPak is actually a wearable resistance device that helps facilitate motor learning and corrective movement patterns. So it does that by giving a little bit of resistance consistently through a full range of motion. So what that does is help activate the right muscle sequencing patterns and also the correct alignment of the joints. And the NeuroPak in itself helps the athlete adjust their bodies to correct mechanics so their performance is more efficient. And with more efficient performance, you have less risk of injury and also better sustainability on the field.
I was in special ops in the military, and I lifted weights, I trained, but I really wasn't efficient in what I did when I was working out. So the NeuroPak, for me, it built the foundation in the athlete. I believe it makes the athlete more efficient in correcting the 7 biometrics. And in there, by efficiency, the athlete becomes more powerful through their own hard work, their own sweat. They make their body as efficient as they can, either in training or on the field at game time.
While we were focused on the military, we really thought, well, this is kind of human systems. It's helping identify and correct mechanics in any human. It doesn't matter if they're an operator, an athlete, or an aging adult. So we started to test that out with our clients and patients. And then we saw these kind of aha moments to where we were seeing almost a 40% increase in return to work with therapy protocols, like for shoulder injuries. The therapists were actually able to have quicker outcomes for their patients and get them back to work. And then we were also finding out that it was giving us more correction in the joint rather than correcting the injury. We were correcting the whole system in one movement. Because the way that this is loaded, it connects the whole body. So as I work on my shoulder, I can walk and go through a range of motion. So my whole body is learning how to stabilize that shoulder and repair that shoulder as I'm walking. So the whole body is learning.
We see change in people immediately when they put it on. It almost feels like you're walking on the moon when you wear it. Even though you have resistance, we see increase in heart rate, we see increase in output, even though there's a 4 to 6 pound resistance in the NeuroPak. And that's what's kind of amazing. You should technically be slower, but what we see is people are faster with it on. And then when they take it off, they retain that movement, that form, that the body creates.
So with that, and then with sports, as we tested it, we saw these kind of remarkable outcomes, and one of them specifically was an average 3-inch increase in vertical. And that sounds crazy, it's not magic. We didn't make them automatically jump magically 3 inches higher. What we did is this device, how it helps you align and stack the body and core, it allows you to get into better alignment, so you're able to put more force into the ground and sequence the muscles in more of a vertical fashion, so you're able to put force in the ground and then get up high. And that's one of the metrics that everybody knows in sports is vertical jump. So if we can increase that explosive power that quickly, what else can we do for the arm, for throwing, for other things? We started to do a lot of testing and really started to get excited, but then you get going down a lot of rabbit holes, from fly fishing to surfing to throwing a baseball to working with kids with autism.
A couple months ago, I had a friend call me and asked to borrow the NeuroPak for his wife who had MS. He took it home, and within 2 weeks, I got a text from him late at night talking about how she was able to walk farther, walk faster, do more with the kids, more in the house, and had no pain at night or reduced pain at night. And that, to me, becomes the value of the NeuroPak. We are building it to hit the youth athlete, but in reality, we've seen positive effects of it from the U10 all the way up to 60s and 75-year-olds. Our passion is to get it more available to more athletes and to more people that want to use it, and to make it more available.
One of the things that was really critical for me from the onset of this project is I already had a business. I wasn't in this necessarily to make a product and make a business. I was there to solve a problem. So having it evidence-based was critical from day one. I didn't care, it wasn't about my ego, it was about getting it right. Because when you hand it to guys that are going down range and you understand why it matters and what it costs, you don't want to leave anything to marketing, magic and numbers. You want evidence-based solutions. We won about $2 million in federal awards from Air Force Research Lab that allowed us to get research at Purdue, University of Texas, and multiple other universities and research facilities. So we saw an increase of about an average 40% increase in hip extension velocity at University of Texas. We saw an accelerated motor learning at Purdue in increased retention. So we saw that this is neurological, and that adaptation is happening even after the first movement with it. So really when it really clicked that this thing is changing mechanics and really influencing movement was during the therapy case studies. And we were working with several patients that had torn labrums and other shoulder pathologies. And again, like I said, we have compensation patterns, and what the therapist identified is that when they go through the same movement, instead of going forward, the feedback of the band was cueing the arm and the shoulder to go into the right rotation, and then activation of the back of the muscles of the shoulder that should contribute to the movement of the shoulder. But when it's just using the compensatory patterns, that's where the injury lies and starts to develop. But this, we saw a direct change in mechanics and also motor activation. When we went overhead, the therapist identified that there was activation in the back of the shoulder, and we had greater range through the shoulder. So that told me that without any additional instruction, as long as they go through the same correct pattern, this is cueing that correction in the mechanisms of the mechanics and also the muscle and the nervous system. For the parents, they want their kids, and I've worked with youth athletes for over 25 years, and therefore their parents, and the kids want to perform better, but the parents want them to perform safely, effectively, and they want them to get the best opportunities that they can. And one of the things we've validated through Purdue Research and UTSA and Air Force Research Lab is that while you're teaching your kid is learning movement, say that it's a serving technique for volleyball, or a jumping technique, they're learning it in a safer way that's intuitively correcting their mechanics. So it's like you've got a corrective exercise specialist on your child while they're learning skill. And then the Purdue study also magnified the motor learning, how much it improved that, so the kids are learning the skills faster. So your kids are going to perform better faster, and they're going to stay injury-free on the field. For a coach always says the best ability is availability. So that's one of the things we see with injury trends in sports and positions, is that volume of impact and the depth, and who do we start, who do we play, who's at risk, and who do we pull prior to that injury. So what this does is help you train with less volume and smarter as a coach. So with a coach at practice, you don't have a lot of time to add things. This is not about adding time to your practice. This is about giving you more time and then more value for every repetition that you put into your teaching. So I'm going to show you a few different loading patterns. So if I'm a right-handed pitcher or QB, I might take the left clip from the wrist and move it across the body here to the chest ring, so it creates this contralateral load. When I'm going through the pitching mechanics, this is helping rotate. As my arm comes through, my hips are coming through. So the sequence of power is connected there. And a lot of times we have trouble getting athletes to turn into that lead hip. That kind of trails as they use the upper body to throw or to swing a golf club. This will help get more range and extension through the back end, while this helps bring your power through, because it's loaded this direction through, but it helps you transfer the load to your front leg. So another loading pattern that I actually use quite a bit, and there's some days that I do presentations or I'm out on the floor 8 hours and I'll just load this pattern up here to my chest. What we found with this specific pattern is the stacking. So earlier we talked about center of mass and alignment. This helps stack the ankles, knees, hips, and shoulders right on top of each other. Because if you're broken down here and you're forward, all of a sudden the joints start to take more shear forces and stress. So I have to keep myself in this upright position consciously. So over the course of 2 minutes, the nervous system is adapting to that. And it's understanding that I need to activate this muscle to stay in this position. So that's just time under tension, and that develops that neural pattern to make it permanent. This has been about 10 years so far in product development, in research, and we're really just coming out to market now. But the exciting thing is we've seen such a wide range of applications, not just from your athletes, your operators. We're working with patients with Parkinson's and making great improvements to gait and motor patterns in fall risk patients, to kids with cerebral atrophy and autism and MS. There's so many different paths, and chronic pain management is another big one, because with alignment, you reduce the compensation, so the load goes off the injured joint. So there's so many things in the healthcare and the injury prevention and the prehab, I think is gonna be a significant, where you're gonna see this predominantly is in that preventative space and longevity for people to maintain functional athleticism for longer and correct nagging injuries. It's gonna be something that you'll see just like a kettlebell in a gym. It's not gonna take the place of any one product, but it has a place in every gym to then help those coaches or those athletes in the gym working out, or just average people, pick up something to help them move better and more athletically and have a better functional, pain-free life.